Leipzig with him, but of course then went down to Spain. Actually, they were third there. I think it was about a week ago. They jumped in the 3-star down in Oliva, where they finished third in the 3-star Grand Prix. But this is a horse with a lot of experience. Been a regular at 5-star level. He's had some really solid results last year, I think back to the likes of the 150 that he was second in Brussels. He jumped in a lot of classes on the global tour. Pulling up to the gate, or the pocket. It closes behind him. We're good to go. Right, settle in, sit back, and, well, relax, because this is live sport, and it's live with you here tonight on FEI TV. Bringing you the best from Bordeaux with this qualifier for tomorrow's Longines FEI Jumping World Cup round. 106,000 euros worth of prize money. 38 of them due to start out, and going to be a great way to start. Jerome having a really good look round in terms of just trying to make sure he, well, one remembers where he's going, but I'm sure he can do that. But he's just so much different when you get in on your horse and you're that little bit higher up, and you've got no one else in there. You've got that clear space. And inevitably, so often is the case, when you are the first in, of course, the arena announcers doing the big build-up, and we all, you know, that's what the crowd need. But it can also just mean you get a little bit longer. And he was obviously quite keen to get in because he wasn't holding back coming down the tunnel. And again, just using that 45-second countdown, making sure that he doesn't rush his way into the start. But now we're good to go. So here we are, Jerome Guery. LS Elite. Giving himself plenty of space and plenty of time. Now looping back round to the first of these 3 doubles. Forward 7. Got this turn back. Second of the doubles. Oh, and it's gone. He was just asking for the turn, maybe just a fraction early. Coming round into what is the final line on that score of 4, Jerome Guery. Big stretch. And that's your final fence. Lovely course, plenty of options out there on those turns, certainly on the ends of the arena. It's just a shame. You could just see that he was asking for that left-handed turn. He wanted to make the most of that turn back, and I think that is a tricky part of that particular part of the course. Out of the double at 8A, 8B, he was just asking for the turn to come back to 9. Maybe that was just enough to just put Carassa a little bit off balance. Here we go. We have another look down this line. Just asking for the turn. And it can be moments like that that just create that little bit of... Packed house tonight. It really is busy here in Bordeaux. Now for Germany, Tom Schewe. Tom Schewe for Germany here with Aaron Z. 27-year-old German rider impressed me with when I saw him jumping in, was it Leipzig? Really looking good. This 10-year-old Bagnix. Looking to try and push on a little here. Comes back round to the plank. Then 5 strides down to fence 6. The golden plank you've got to be very careful with, but then you're going to turn back here. Got a lovely stride. Balanced up on the 4. Gets out over the double, doesn't ask for the turn too early. Ooh, he ended up way too deep. He just never quite found the right stride off the turn. What a shame. That was a real shame, because the way he went for the turn back, and he was really pushing on quite nicely. I mean, in the end, obviously, he's slower than Jerome as well, but he just ended up way too deep. Never quite. I mean, hopefully we'll see a replay. Here we go. Running a little bit out, to be fair to him. Aaron Z was just sort of running a little bit out through the right-hand shoulder. You could see that on the turn. Well, we move on. First of the home chances tonight sits with Julien Anquetin. Long line of top French talent involved this evening. And Julien will be hoping to put up a decent time, as he did, to be fair to him, a little bit earlier on today. He's another that was out in Hong Kong last week. He had that top 5 finish in the Grand Prix on Blood Diamond Dupont tonight with Bettendorf. The rider that qualified for those World Cup finals, his first ever World Cup final in Basel last year. It's a horse that was, I mean, many of us all know was with Kevin Stoke previously, but since these two have come together, certainly shown they've got a pretty decent relationship. And he really is attacking. Again, really happy to jump up against the wing, ask for the turn as early as he can. Now into the final line. Oh no, he's rolled the rail. Absolute commitment, sub 60 seconds, faster than Jerome. Yes, it leads, and I think it gives us a really good indication of the times we've got to be looking for tonight. But, sadly, it doesn't come together in terms of it being a clear. So, well, yeah. Helping each other out of difficult moments, I think, is the way to put it. But it's just behind, just didn't quite lift up behind. Well, what can this man do? Top 70 in the world, and he's had a pretty decent run of form in recent weeks and months. I mean, he was, to me, just always now going to think of London last year, the London International Horse Show, because he was the standout rider with his performances there. Victor Bettendorf, Luxembourg. Tonight he's got his 12-year-old mare, Encore Toy de Linon. This mare by Canaan comes here after winning down. I was talking a little while ago, of course, with Jerome about that 3-star Grand Prix that took place in Oliva just the other week, about a week ago. I mean, Victor was first both in the qualifier for that and in the 3-star Grand Prix with this horse. You can see he's full of confidence. He had a win with in London as well, and he's looking to try and put this time up early. So confident. But he knows when he needs to take his time as well. Final line. Still clear. Just trying to back up a little bit. He was pushing on in. Oh, it's the back rail. Same fence as Julien, but it is the back rail, not the front rail. And he ends up just a little bit behind in terms of time. About a second behind also from Julien Anquetin. So Victor Bettendorf goes second. What a great course this is. It's a jumping course, as it should be. You want them to push, because time is going to make all the difference come the end of this, but you want it to be difficult too. And it's just different parts of the course causing different issues for different horses. Just couldn't quite find their way over the back rail. Well, now to Norway. Oda Charlotte Lyngvaer. 12-year-old mare is Garbail van der Nienzed. Out of VDL, out of a Lux Z mare. This was her ride at the European Championships in Spain last year. A pretty impressive run over the course of this year's World Cup season. I mean, the standout was Kuhner back at the beginning of December, where she had that second place in the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup competition. That came after finishing 5th in the class the day before. So with this horse, she's hoping that that sort of form is good to go again. I mean, they jump well in Oslo. Again, different fence. I mean, I think when I looked at the course, that back rail always looked a little bit difficult because of the fact you want to turn immediately off it, and it's certainly wide. They're going to be a lot steadier and slower on the clock than the quicker combinations, but she does at least keep it to the 4. 4 penalties there with Garbail van der Nienzed and Oda. So, of course, that was the Norwegian Challenge this evening. Riders, though, from all over Europe and beyond involved in this competition. Wonder if we get the replay. We do get the replay of the fence going down. Look how wide that fence is when you're up. I mean, she never quite got to the other end, but you are already thinking of the turn. Back by France for the next to go. Francois Xavier Boudant and his lovely mare. This by Cicero Z Van Permel, called Gloria des Besnard. Francois had plenty of experience in this combination. I mean, they're cracking top 3 finish in that 3-star in Paris at the end of last year. Then they've had a little bit of time off from international shows with this horse until a couple of weeks ago. And we still got in and we still got out. There was a little bit of a stuttery stop, but they kept moving. I was about to say they went to Pielbergen, I think 2 weeks ago. Twice in the top 5. Interesting the way he sort of had that stuttery moment going into that early double, because he's not the first to have done so. But at the moment, maybe I shouldn't say it, he's still, insert word here. Coming home. Looking to be, no, not to be. What can one say apart from, 4 at the last, at the very last fence. And of course now the time's bunching up on 4, 61.90, goes into 4th. Well, it is never over until it's over. But it really looked to deserve that. Either way, we still 6 in, are waiting for the opening clear round of this competition. These early riders really pushing. Mario Wilson Fernandes, Portugal's chance of the night. The 11-year-old is Krapashta. He's gelding by Carrera VDL. Second out of, because Oda Charlotte Lyngvaer's mare was by Carrera VDL. Second we've seen. This is out of an Animo mare. Mario's European ride last year. Down to this double. Still clear as he turns back out the other side. Now he's really starting to grow in confidence here. Mario's pushing on. We've seen how tricky this final line is, whether it be the first, middle, or the final part of it. Be careful. A and B out the way. Fingers crossed. Could it be? Yes, it is. It's the opening clear of the night. It goes to Mario Wilson Fernandes and Krapasta, the Portuguese star, 61.25. I mean, as much as we've seen some faster times than that, it's still a very respectable time. But more importantly, it's a brilliant clear round, and no other has managed that so far. So that's great news. Well done, Mario. 7 in, and we get the opening clear. 61.25, Portugal lead the way here in Bordeaux. Now the chase begins. Still 31 to come forward. There's a long way to go tonight. Well, on we go to the next chance for France. Looking now to see if the door is open for the clears to continue. It's Melissa Garbail. Riding here with Dandy Lelier. That's gelding. Looking pretty confident. By the sire, Iowa. And unfortunately, it's the first part of the double down. On the 4. Going to be a little bit steady to challenge any of those really on a 4 penalty score. Goes into 6th. 1 clear, and then, well, the next rider, 6 riders, all sitting on a score of 4. So Melissa going into 6th place. Still 1 clear round. Marks to the course designer tonight. Jan Royen. Looks to have got this one absolutely spot on. This could be a big challenge. World's top 20. A cracking combination. Blues d'Aveline, the lovely gelding by Balusini with Max Kuhner. Great to see these two really up and running this winter. That lovely win in Geneva, and I mean, what a brilliant partnership they seem to be making together. You're going to go back a few years to when Gerrit Nieberg had a lot of success with this horse. Max really does seem to have found his way. It clear and keeping it quick. Look at this for acceleration. He's seen the stride and he's gone on the angle. No one has been able to get that sort of line. It's going to be nip and tuck in terms of time. There's not going to be a lot in this. Is he going to be clear? That's the first part. Yes, the time is tight, but it's second. 61.94. 0.7 of a second behind Mario. Brilliant effort. I mean, the turn back for the double at 8 round to that angle he took to jump 9 was outstanding. Bit of riding. Really confident from Max and Blues d'Aveline. Just not quite able to get his way past Mario, who's 61.25. Still leads the way, although we do know, again, that you can go quicker. But can you do it with a clear in that moment? Just maybe a little bit wider than he wanted to, but either way, let's wait and see what this man can do. Another in the world's top 40 and one of the best the sport has ever seen from Switzerland, Martin Fuchs. It's there by Grandonado TN is Love de Vie. He's also brought Connor with him. We saw jumping a little bit earlier on today. Former winner himself for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup final. He had a couple of second places in Basel with this particular horse. So I was thinking he'll be hoping for another good result here. Again, he's looking for that line. He may be a little bit wider, but he's keeping up a really nice forward flow. Gets much tighter up against the wing than we saw Max manage. So now that 61.25 is under threat. If he's clear, he is quick. Is this good enough to put Martin Fuchs and Love de Vie in the lead? It is 60.12. A superb challenge and a lovely bit of riding. You can see what it means to him as well. He's over the moon with that. That was really, really good to see Martin delivering a superb round. As I say, they had that form in Basel. He just got pipped to the post on a couple of the nights there. But it has been notable just how that mare is. I mean, she's only just turned 10, but she's getting much, much quicker, more and more consistent. We saw them have a couple of wins together last year. Is this going to be their first win together of 2026? They're going to have an awful long wait, and they've got an awfully big challenge coming in now because it's the reigning holders of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup from the final in Basel last April. France's top rider and world number 7, Julien Epaillard, and his ever speedy partner, Donatella Doge. Ooh, that was a gentle rub that we didn't want to see at first, but nevertheless, on we go. They also had the win in the World Cup leg in Amsterdam last time out. So he's already got his first win on his scorecard for this year, and look at the way he's going for this. Martin Fuchs is under pressure from one of the fastest combinations in world jumping, and he is showing it with the confidence. Look at this. Donatello is perhaps the fastest away from a fence, and the confidence to which Julien can ride towards a fence and know they're going to jump when they get there. This is unbelievably fast. This is ridiculously quick. That is what we have come to expect, but we should never, ever take it for granted because it is absolute brilliance from the two of them. Julien Epaillard and Donatella Doge. 57 seconds exactly. There may well be 27 still to go in this class, and if anybody does beat that, well, they will deservedly be recognised as a combination that beat the World Cup holders. But that showed why we love them as a partnership, because when they do that, it is sublime. Right, the chase begins. He's, by the way, I mean, as a point of reference, he is just over 3 seconds faster than Martin Fuchs. Belgium, Gudrun Patteet, certainly never been slow. You can say that about Gudrun, she's quick. But is she the sort of pace to like to put a challenge together? We'll see with Seacoast Carvalho d'Or. Not holding back, this 10-year-old by Masito van Het Helihoff. good round. It's a clear round. That's key. We've seen how easy it is to have a fence down tonight, but it's just not as quick as it could have been if you're looking to push. But she seems pretty happy with that, and obviously ticking the boxes she was aiming for tonight was sea host Cavalier d'Or. 10-year-old again is pretty confident. She's been building sort of up through those 145 into the 150 classes. And she's found her way into the top 6 a couple of times in Amsterdam, again in Mechelen just before New Year. She jumped very well in Paris. Well, what can Cedric do tonight? Cedric next to go, Cedric Hurel. Fantasio Florel Z. Won the ranking Grand Prix last weekend in Centaur, which wasn't a bad way to get ready to come to this show. Certainly helps with the confidence, you've got to say. Of course, he also had to see the really decent results in Lyon last year. He's pushing on. This is not going to be that far off the likes of Martin Fuchs, whether it's quick enough, I don't think, for Julien's time, but there's such a big gap between second and, well, first and second. You'd think with this sort of round he might be able to jump into it. Oh, not anymore. Well, 59.92, he would have jumped into the gap, but for the fence that went down, and actually with the fence down, he's not actually the fastest on 4, because that honour sits with Julien Anquetin, but Cedric going into 7th place. Second fastest partnership on a score of 4. Still though, Julien's put so much pressure on if you're looking to try and beat him. Ireland up next. Has stood on the podium here in the Grand Prix a couple of years ago. This is Jessica Burke, riding tonight with her 10-year-old gelding by Rock and Roll Semeli. This is Good Star du Barry. She's had a couple of impressive outings this year. Twice she's finished in the top 10 in 2 World Cup legs. It was almost 3 last time out in Basel. Again, one of those horses that has just grown in stature and confidence and looked to be such a consistent horse over the course of this winter. And you can see Jess really pushing on now. She's never been slow. Just had to lose a little bit of time. She just wanted to make sure of that turn. Oof. A gentle little nudge on the Longines fence. These fences certainly don't get smaller as you go around this course. Again, a little roll, but it's still up. And we've got another clear. 63.57. She's faster than Gudrun, so she'll go into 5th, just behind Max Kuhner. Top 3 remain the same: Julien Epaillard, Martin Fuchs, and Mario Fernandes. But well done, Jessica Burke, the Irish rider, again showing the quality of Good Star du Barry. He's a real star, and he's looking better and better every single time he goes round a course. Well, next up, it's the Polish rider, Michal Ziebicki. Now, the horse he's riding tonight is Oh Lord DB. did ride as part of the Polish team last year at the European Championships. A few very nice horses. So this was his sort of second horse behind Balu Batman. 12-year-old is by Destinat. A much wider line. He's certainly not looking to try and sort of challenge in terms of time, but if he can keep the fences standing, put himself in a good place going into the World Cup leg tomorrow. Time allowed doesn't look to be any sort of consideration at 74 seconds. I think he'll still be under 70. He is 69.17 for Michal Ziebicki and Oh Lord DB. The Polish rider then giving us the 7th clear goes into 7th place. 15 have jumped, 7 are clear. 6 have gone round for, is it 6? No, sorry, 7 are clear. 7 have gone round for a score of 4, and 1 has gone round for a score of 8. I mean, brilliant course building. Still, though, Julien Epaillard holding a 3-second lead as the next to go was the winner. I mean, we're talking, what, 5? It shows how not only riders travel, but horses travel. 5 days ago in Hong Kong, at the Longines Hong Kong International Horse Show, the winner of that 5-star Grand Prix. The AA ranking Grand Prix, his first AA ranking Grand Prix for quite a long time. But it was so good to watch, and he beat Simon Deleste with a cracking round with this horse, who is such a star part of his lineup. She's, what, 15 now, Ballerine de Villepion by Balu Bedderouet. Come on, Bosty. Not to be, not to be. Certainly still pushing on. Now he's elected to take a slightly wider, safer approach into the final double. One more to jump. Finishes on a time of 63.60 and goes round for a score of 4. Ballerine de Villepion and Khadji Boss. Just actually, of all the French riders, the only clear is the leader, Julien Epaillard. They've got plenty more chances to come. Well, the next to go, another that has had a win on the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Western European League this year, Daniel Deusser. Of course, with Ortello had the win in Verona. Ortello is here tonight, though. He's got Bingo Stramel, the now 15-year-old stallion by number 1 Drisso for the world number 30. Together quite a solid end to the year with this horse. That win in the ranking class in Leer in October, then went to Stuttgart, won there. He had a 2nd place in London. And then Bingo had the month of January off. And now comes back here in Bordeaux. And Daniel's looking like he means business. today, but if you can't beat Julien, you've got to push hard if you're going to try and get ahead of Martin in second. That was risky. He's gambled, he saw the stride, now he's running forward into the launching fence. It's there on the 9. Now, back round, the double, and then the 7 strides to the last. This is a brilliant round. In fact, this is as quick as Julien. Is he as quick as Julien? He's nearly. Well, he chased him to the line, and he got round within half a second of Julien Epaillard. Daniel Deusser. What a superb effort that was from that was Daniel doing a magical performance. Again, it shows how good bingo is looking at the moment. His numbers didn't quite come up, 0.46 away. I think to get within half a second of Donatella Dosch, even Daniel will be pretty impressed once he saw that time, although I'm sure being the competitor that he is, he was obviously trying to beat him. Now, France, once more. This crowd are having a fabulous night. This is great sport. Marie Demont, give me one reason, DK. This 10-year-old Maya by Carrera-Dic. Looking good over the winter. They spent a lot of time down in Spain and then more recently in Pilbergen, but they've been winning, finishing pretty consistently on the podium, coming a little bit wider. Ooh, hang on a moment. Oh dear, she's down. They're both down, but horse back up, rider back up. Everybody's A-OK despite the tumble, and it really was a tumble. You can see in the distance, horse goes straight back towards the warm-up arena. The veterinary team will be there to greet, as will the medical team for the rider, but from the lookings of things, everybody is A-OK. So that was a sort of heart in your mouth moment. You can't say it wasn't, because it was. And well, there we go. A little bit sandy, but most importantly, both are fine. And yet, there we have it. The medical team immediately, the veterinary team were there as well. Of course, designing team just having to replace a pole. It's hard to exactly judge what happened, but what happened, I guess, is not really relevant. The most important part and the relevant part is that they're okay. So there's the clears. Julien Epaillard leading the way, 57 seconds exactly. Daniel Deusser, 57.46, just behind him. And then Martin Fuchs. I mean, what a lineup for the top three as it stands, 60.12. When you consider the achievements of those three individuals and the different horses that they've had in their careers and the wins that they've got between them, it would be some maths project to work it out, I have to say. Well, there is the next to go, keeping his cool. I mean, it happens that you've got to wait sometimes. There's the bell. In fact, to be fair, the arena team have worked brilliantly down there to get everything rebuilt and the pole put back. Now, Roel Holthuizen, Dutch challenge with the 11-year-old Carlson W3 by Comme Il Faut. Second World Cup leg of the year for them, having jumped in Leipzig. unfortunately, that Longines fence goes down there. They were taking their time. I think they were trying to really focus on being able to deliver the clear round. Coming home on a 4, and in fact that becomes an 8. So 65-68 there for Roel. First of the Dutch riders we see here this evening. In fact, I think he might actually be the only Dutch rider here this evening now. I've just said that. Well, the next is the Italian Antonio Vita Perari, Kathmandu. 11-year-old by nameless art. Getting off to a good start here. And just balancing on that corner, and it just means you lose a little bit of time. Big horse, Kathmandu, and you can see he takes a little bit of turning. Oh, 2 in a row, having the same fence down. Hopefully Antonio won't have the last and keeps it to the 4. Pretty steady in terms of the time though, 69.22. On a 4, will that drop down the order as the slowest on a 4 penalty score. The margins are pretty tight tonight. There's so many clear or on what are quite quick 4-fault rounds. It's very easy to drop your way sort of into the lower end of the top 20, or perhaps as the class unfolds a little more, even further down the order. Lots of love being shown here for Olivier Robert. He's got his own fan club, which is most of this audience. Hugely popular. He's having a great time. It was lovely to see the support he was getting in the class this afternoon. He jumped a super round then. Right, Esprit de Filière AA. Been a long-standing part of his stable. Now 12, this stallion by Upsilon, and these still looking for what will be their first win of the year. They finished off well in Mechlin, but not yet getting underway. It's just not quite gone to plan over the last 2 or 3 shows from Basel to Leipzig to here. Going down. Well, it's 8. At least he kept it to the 8 by the end. So 8 was the score for Olivier Robert. 62.85. To remind you, the leading time is a 57-second round. There'll be lots of support for him, though, whatever he does over the next couple of days. Could be a big chance for the French now with Marc Dilasser, especially with this horse, Orioto de Grez. What a star partner this now 16-year-old gelding is. Deauville last year, they had that 3rd place finish. Of course, they had a really solid result. I think it was fourth, wasn't it, in Dinar in the Grand Prix. They were also in the top 6 in Geneva, but Basel a couple of weeks ago they were 8th. We know how to win classes as well. I mean, there's still such a big gap in terms of time between second and third at the moment. Nearly 3 seconds. Although he's got off to the sort of start where you'd start to think perhaps he could consider trying to jump this for the lead. Daniel Deusser came close. Julien Epaillard still holding on. But we're not trying to waste time. Just have to hold a little bit more than maybe the leading duo did on that turn back. He's got away with tapping the front rail. Maybe not as quick as those top 2, but I tell you again, third is still there for the taking if he can go under 60 seconds, and he has. 59.15. France now third, as well as leading the way. Marc Dilasser and Riotte de Grez showing again just what a great combination they make together. 59.15. Okay, yeah, a couple of seconds off the lead, but the way it's stacked up tonight, that's good enough to go into the top 3. He still leaves a pretty decent gap between him and Daniel in second, but for the moment, with 16 to go, Marc Dilasser is looking good. Next to go has been looking good quite a few times through the year. Found himself well placed in a few of the World Cup legs over the course of the season. Armando Trapote, the Spanish star, of course, team rider for Spain, here with Nasa de Toxandria, this lovely mare by Vertigo Saint-Bignou. Took the ride over from Teresa Vasquez after the Europeans last year. I'm pretty sure it was Basel when he had a top 5 in Basel in one of the big 150s there, so it's a similar sort of experience today. On the inside track back. Got a pretty decent jump. He's kept moving. Like I said, there's a pretty big gap between second and third. This will be nip and tuck. He's in and around that sort of time of Marc Dilasser's. Is he just under or just over 60? Just over 66.1. Goes into 5th. He's half a second behind Martin Fuchs, but pretty happy with that. Armando Trapote, he should be. Lovely round, really smooth, and again, he's got a team of horses around him that just delivering consistent results. And tonight, when the pace is hot, he's still able to bring himself up into play. Over 100,000 euros in the prize fund. Even if he ends up 5th, I'm sure he'll be pretty happy. Well, we look to Brazil. One of my favourite horses, one of my favourite partnerships, the now 18-year-old Ziebicki and Yuri Mansur. Nothing to prove, these two. They proved it over a quite brilliant career together. This lovely gelding by Valentino. Just, I mean, testament to Yuri in his horsemanship, but also to the team, of course, his grooms and the team around him as well, that even at 18, look how fit, happy and enjoying the rounds Ziebicki is. He wants to go and do it. And he's still able to do it so well. Going to come deep on that inside line, and he's seen the stride. Now he's pushing on. Like I said, still as competitive as ever. These two know each other inside out and back to front. And they're proving it once again, because again, he's very much perhaps able to jump under 60 seconds. Can he? Not quite. He's gone through fourth. You've got now 60.03 Yuri Mansur going into fourth behind that round of Marc Dilasser's 59.15. I mean, Martin Fuchs was 60.12, so we're only 9 hundredths or so of a second, and is the difference between Yuri and Martin. But Ziebicki, as I said, showing his class. Well, this man's full of class, and he's usually pretty quick. Is Kevin Schewe, Feline de Hoos HDC. Is made by Kenan, the 11-year-old. Second in the Saturday night class in Basel. Or was it the Friday night class, the opening night, again in Basel. One in Geneva. Had some good results last year. Pretty not only consistent but pretty quick as well. Been showing all of his class with this sort of round. He's going to try, and could well yet push himself up into the top three with this sort of round of jumping. Where's he go? Oh no! Oh, Kevin. No. 59.46. He would have actually, where would he have? He would have gone into fourth. He was certainly faster than Yuri. He wasn't actually quite as fast as Marc Dilasser. So Kevin Schewe, one of 3 riders from France that have gone round under 60 seconds, but I had a fence down. Julien Anquetin, Kevin Schewe, and Cedric Hurel. No doubt about it, the home riders really pushing for a big result here this evening. Well, the British star next up, Julien Anquetin. Had some brilliant results in her career, and with this partner that she now has, of course, she had that brilliant win in the Grand Prix of Poznan back in December. She rides Key West. With this horse last year, and they really do get on. She's shown already in her career just how competitive she can be, and how good she is at winning big classes. She's been quick ever since she was riding ponies. Got the stride on the angle. There is no room for error. Coming home, can she add to the list of clears? It's a really impressive start to her Bordeaux. Julien Anquetin goes clear and into the top 10. The British rider 64.06. So adds to the list of clears at a top 10 for the moment. Keeps her ahead of Gudrun Patteet and Michal Ziebicki. Slots in just behind Jessica Burke. So well done, Jodie. Well, next up, back to France. Stéphane Beaufort, Express de Hoos. Going to need an express type of round here with this 12-year-old stallion by Conrad. Combination of a little bit of time off international sport over the last few months. To be fair to them, last year they showed they can be pretty competitive at 150. The horse we've seen last year as well with Victor Bettendorf, Michael Young as well as ridden this one. Coming to the last, and maybe adding to the list of clears. Does indeed add to that list of clears, just a little bit slower than the round we saw a short while ago from Jodie Hall-McAteer. So they'll go into 11th with that round. 66.59 on the clock. 13 clears we now have. And that actually is only France's third clear. Although the other two sitting in first and third have certainly made an impression on this class. Still it's Julien Epaillard leading from Daniel Deusser and Marc Dilasser. Beautifully done. Well, this man put in a cracking round earlier on his 9-year-old. He was the first to go in the opening class today. Really showed the way. Swiss rider Adrian Schmid, the more experienced part of his team, the 13-year-old. Chikorito. Gelding Solito was in the top 5 in Basel in the Golden Drum. The way this class has unfolded is it's meant that even if you want to get up into the prize money, you cannot afford, one, to have a fence down, but two, you can't afford to go around and be steady. You've got to push all the way. Oh! Talk about a gentle tap. It almost considered staying, and then it went. The back rail comes off that double. He's not the first to have fallen into that trap. Unfortunately, then a score of 4. I mean, 63.93, had he stayed clear, to give you an understanding of where that would have put him, it would have put him into the top 10, but only into 10th place. So even pushing on like that, you've got to be absolutely foot perfect. Just a few times we've seen them just horses jumping in a little bit short, and as they jump out they just seem to sort of flatten out a little bit. Well, the next to go, Michael Young, the legendary German event rider, and of course all-round equestrian star, as I could only but describe him, because he is. And what a horse this is. What an absolute superstar this 9-year-old looks to be. Fishkihiro said every bit the, I would say, Grand Prix star perhaps coming up for Michel's stable. And if you were with us in Leipzig, of course he was second in the qualifier, the equivalent class to this, and then he went on and finished 6th in that World Cup leg. He put in some pretty impressive performances all the way through the back end of last year. And this is a 9-year-old that has really grown up quick. Bottom hot spot. He's got such a phenomenal position in the saddle. always seems so correct with every stride, including the last as he jumps it 62.09. He'll be, I'm sure, looking again with FFE Generalis said tomorrow, so he'll be bearing that in mind a little bit, I'm sure, with how much he wants to push tonight. Either way, goes into the top 10. 62.09, gets himself ahead of Jessica Burke, slots in behind Max Kuhner. And it leaves us just 9 to go. Allez, allez. Yeah, that's the idea of this one, and I'm sure he'll be listening to the arena speakers' wise words. Go, go. Julien Gonin. And this is the 8th wonder. 11-year-old stallion by Emerald. Plenty of support watching on from the side. He's jumped in a good few 150s with this horse. Oh no! And it's such an early fence to have down. That second fence. But he has jumped a few 150s and 155s. I'm not sure they've jumped in a 5-star though together. The 4 comes 8. .66.56. Steady in terms of the time, but it's the poles that cause the most damage in terms of where he'll go as he drops down to the bottom end of the top 30. Julien Gonin and 8th wonder. Still then, Julien Epaillard leading the way on Donatella Dosch. Daniel Deusser still sitting there in second, as close as he was, 57.46, and then Marc Dilasser in third at the moment. Yuri Mansur, Martin Fuchs, Armando Trapote making the top 6. Now, another that was out in Hong Kong last week and is fresh back, although he's brought the horses, different team of horses here, these last jumping in Leipzig. This is Quatre Mai L. This 10-year-old stallion by Croydon that jumped so well in that open sires class in Mechlin just after Christmas. Coming home well. It's not a bad time. Oh, the last again gets in the way of a clear round, and it's Frederic this time. But unfortunately, we'll look back now, he's had the last to go, or the last fence to jump go down. So Quatre Mai L on 4, 62.85. Instead of getting into the top 10, it would have only just got him into the top 10 in 10th place. Instead of that, he goes down into 21st place. So that pole making a massive difference. And still, Julien Epaillard and Donatella Dosch hold on at the top. Now, another big chance for France. What a round from Jeremy Leroy a little earlier on today. He certainly meant business and proved it with a fabulous win. He's got a pretty decent track record with this horse as well. He's riding Glorious Cornet HDR. He's jumped a good number of 150s. This is his first international show of 2026. Last time out was the 3-star in Paris. He's jumped very well in Salzburg, top 6 in the Grand Prix. Had a great trip out to Morocco as well in the autumn. Almost looked like a little bit of a slip on the turn, but he recovered well, and he's, for at least the moment, to stay clear. Jeremy Leroy got a bit deep, and unfortunately it's gone. Time-wise, he's pretty competitive, 60.47. Could have got him into the top 6 had the pole not gone, but it has. And he joins that very frustrated lineup of French riders that sit 15th, 16th, 17th and 18th, which is the riders with the fastest 4 penalty scores. Just the way it's worked out, but they're all got 14 clear rounds, and then those 4 fast 4s that follow up, which have all got times that would see them in the top 6. Unfortunately, have all had a fence down. Well, Ireland sitting in the top 10 with Jessica Burke's round a little earlier. Great to see these two here. Dennis Lynch and his star Vistagrand. Of course, a big part of the Irish team lineup last year. Helped the Irish to the podium in Dublin in the Aga Khan. And had some time off after Dublin. We saw them come back in Basel. To be fair, Vistagrand was looking very, very fit and well in London. He jumped some nice rounds, top 6 in Basel in the Golden Drum. Dennis putting together quite a calculated round. It'd be interesting to see how quick it turns into. Trying to find that fine line between making sure it's quick enough, but he's still clear. He had to put the brakes on a little bit coming down to the last, and he's ended up just being that little bit quicker than Jessica Burke, the other Irish rider we saw earlier on. And Dennis going into the top 10 pushes Jess out. She falls into 11th place, but as I say, Vistagrand is consistent when it comes to jumping the clears as ever. More pace if he'd have needed it, just the way it had worked out. Well, former Irish rider, now very much for Sweden. His partner Erica. It's Thomas Ryan, connoisseur. PRW is his ride this evening. I'm sure there'll be some tremendous opportunities. You can very much understand. For so many years been based in Sweden as part of their lineup now. Now this gelding by Cornel Obolensky out of a staccato bet. Oh dear, again. The first part went, and that seemed to put them off sufficiently to get into trouble at the second part of the double as well. And in fact decides to retire, understandable. Connoisseur PWR and Thomas Ryan. Things were down to the final 4 to go. And still Julien Epaillard holding on at the top of the board for the moment. If any of the final 4 can push their way up, there's still quite a gap between second and third. When I say a gap, I mean in terms of time, 57.46 back to 59.15. If anyone can slot into that. He did well to stay in the saddle. Well, here we go with Camille. Camille Conde Ferrara is the next to go. 1 of 2 in the final 4 still to go for France. This is Bassano de Nadiel. Stallion Balibet Drouet. In the 5-star in Lyon, they had that win in the Grand Prix in La Bossière-Col back in September. At the moment, she's off to a decent start. Beautifully done. Adds to the list of clears. Goes into 12th. 63.70. And that is a smile, I think, that says it all. Those two are very happy with what they've just achieved. Well done to Camille. And Bassano de Nadiel. Mission accomplished. And done with a bit of style as well. Well, with 3 to go, we've got Denmark, we've got France, and we've got Finland, and the first of them is Denmark's Sara Grace Ask, the mare by Darko Denevel, the 12-year-old. European Championship ride last year. Quite a few of the World Cup shows this last season through the winter. Really, they had a second place back in Lyon back in October, but never really had luck on their side since then. Problem is now when you've got 16 clears, even if you drop a couple of seconds back from even a middling time, you can struggle to get anywhere near the top 10. And that's sort of the position Soren's in there, because he's ended up on a time of 64.97. And that goes into 14th place, despite the fact it was actually a nice round. I'm pretty pleased with that. And then there were two left to go. And if you recall, if you were with us all the way back at the beginning, when we were looking at in the warm-up, waiting for the first combination to go, I mentioned these two. The young lady that took the individual silver medal with this horse at the Young Rider European Championships last year in Risenbeck. Now 22 years of age. This is Eden Leplemons Limbreton, daughter of Penelope, Barbie Delaroc, EDB. And together they've shown that they're more than capable of pushing towards a big result. I remember them in the top 6 in one of the classes in Lyon. The way she started, she's committed. Got a little bit deep, lost a little bit of momentum. Again, just a little check, just wanting to make sure she leaves the fencer standing. This is still a really quick time, though. She has not been slow. Where's she going to stop the clock? 60.98. That is an outstanding performance from a young jockey. And there we have it, even Barbie Delaroc going up into 7th place, 60.98. To give you an understanding of where that sort of tucks in, she's 0.3 of a second behind Armando Trapote. You've got, I'm just double checking my facts before I sort of say it out loud. I mean, Yuri Mansur sitting in 4th on 60.03. And then, well, she's a second, just shy of a second away, and she's down in 7th because of how close things are. But we're one away from Julien Epaillard and Donatella Doge, knowing they've won it. Anna Julia Contio for Finland, with Kayadina is the last in. This 12-year-old mare from Guiedo. They've got some good clears in these sorts of classes. Mecklin and Basel. Oh, the brakes suddenly get put on. Well, I think what we all knew for quite a while is obviously confirmed in the form of Julien Epaillard definitely winning. We'll come to all that in a moment. As you can see, Anna, I think, just waiting for the pole to go back up before she tries again, or whether she jumps that fence or another fence. It's not a huge amount to prove for these two. They've shown us this partnership more than capable. It's just one of those unfortunate moments where you turn back up to a fence and everything just comes to a standstill. Going, which I think is good to see. A little bit of confidence for the pair of them back in and actually jumping really well down through that double. And clears the last. So there's plenty of quality there. Anna Julia Pontillo bringing this class to a conclusion. And Well, he was favourite when it started, and after the round that he jumped, I don't think it was ever in doubt, despite how close Daniel Deusser ended up getting. But the winner of the qualifier for tomorrow's World Cup leg of the Western European League is the reigning World Cup holder. And of course, the winner from the previous leg in Amsterdam, Donatella Dosch and Julien Epaillard, have come out on top here in the qualifier tonight. So congratulations, 57 seconds. As I say, I mean, full marks, Daniel Deusser. I applaud you, because I didn't see you getting that close, and 57.46 was awfully close. Marc Dilasser showing the absolute quality of Roberto de Grez yet again to deliver a podium finish ahead of Yuri Mansur and the ever youthful Ziebicki. Another brilliant showing from Martin Fuchs and Love de Vie ahead of Armando Trapote, and then the young star from France finishing in 7th is well worth a mention. The first clear of the class ended up in 8th with Mario Wilson Fernandes, Max Kuhner, Blues Davelin in 9th, and the top 10 rounds out with Michael Young and what I think is a Grand Prix horse in the making, that lovely Fischke-Heros for the German star. Well, as you can see, the team down there getting set for the presentations in a moment or so. And of course, we'll look forward to welcoming that into the arena. Please do not forget, because it's just a little bit different in Bordeaux, the World Cup leg for the Western European League is tomorrow. So ensure that you are with us for that from start to finish. Or Phil Ghazala and the team will be here for that one to take you all the way through. I mean, there's obviously plenty of sport coming up throughout the day here from Bordeaux. But the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup leg, which takes place tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. local time. And then after that, because FEI TV will be your destination of choice when it comes to channels, you'll be able to tune in to the opening competition of the FEI Driving World Cup, the final here in Bordeaux over the course of tomorrow and Sunday. We've got Fire Start Jumping. I'll be with you for at some point during the middle of the day, when we can focus our attention to Sunday as well, because we'll be here for the Grand Prix, big Grand Prix on Sunday afternoon. And then, of course, FEI TV will have the final, the drive-off of the World Cup final for driving for 2026. Can Boyd Excel do it again? We'll look forward to all those answers to all those questions. Will be coming your way over the weekend here from Bordeaux. It's the 11th leg of the Western European League vote tomorrow at 8 p.m. And after tonight, it's hard to, well, bet against the likes of Julien Epaillard after the win in Amsterdam 2 weeks ago. Can he go and do it again and make it a double? The reigning holder will certainly be looking to head to Fort Worth in Texas for the final in confident mood. And I'm sure we'll be very much one of the contenders again. Let's have a listen.
Again, but it's also a good class today. Donatello, yeah, look, very good form. He won the last show he did in Amsterdam. He won the Grand Prix. I didn't ride him since Amsterdam. I was in Oliva. He just go to the field. I arrived here one day before on Wednesday, just a little flat work and warm up yesterday. And okay, now we have so much experience. The horse is in the ring like home. And yeah, I'm lucky to have a horse like him. He's always giving everything. So yeah, really happy, really proud of my horse.
It's the third time that you win this class with him. Does he like speed classes like that for them? It's good.
Yeah, Donatello win. I think the third or fourth time he win this class the first day. Yeah, it's a very naturally fast horse. It's not a big class for him. It's 150. Normally he can jump 160. It's maybe not the best preparation for the Grand Prix. Last year I did the same. I have one done in the jump off on the last fence. Okay, we see tomorrow. I'm already qualified for the final. And was a nice class to win today. So we see tomorrow. I hope the horse is not too flat tomorrow.
Well, like I said, never take it for granted what those two were able to achieve together. And this is what we wanted. This is the head-to-head. So, Donatella Doge on the left, And of course, then Daniel Deusser is on the right-hand side with Bingo. Nip and tuck at the moment. Nothing in it. If anything, you think Daniel slightly got a nose in front, but yeah, Daniel definitely is up at this stage. Dives in on the turn as well, but look how fast Donatello turned back. So quick, accelerating, and where Daniel's having to just take a little pull, Donatello's able just to keep going. And again on this corner, this big wide sweep, that's brought Donatello back in front. Confident to the last, up and down and over the final fence they go, and it is 0.46 of a second advantage, Julien Epaillard. Well done. So, I mean, Daniel's round was absolutely brilliant. On any other day, it was a winning round. It's just, you know, it's lovely to hear as well. I mean, as you listen in there, Julien had the win in Amsterdam with Donatello Doge, and then Julien's been down to Oliva in Spain in between, but of course Donatello has had a rest. So what's Donatello done after Amsterdam? Gone home, gone in the field, chilled out, and then come here. Julien arrived a day early just to do a little bit of flat work and preparation work. Jumped in a warm-up here last night, just it's a schooling warm-up, and then off he goes and he wins this one. As he also explained, I mean, we know that Donatello is a 160 Grand Prix winner, but this is a 150 class, so it's, I guess, a little bit easier. But again, he's also now, you know, he's just not sure how tomorrow will go. You know, he's used quite a bit up this evening. He'll hope things don't flatten out a little bit tomorrow, so fingers crossed. He'll be wanting to try and get a win at home. Yes, he's qualified for the final because he won it last year, so we'll see what happens. Well, down there, the arena team getting set for the presentation. The guard of honour being made. Busy here this evening. There he is. It looks like he swapped horses though, that's easy. That is not Donatello. Donatello's, I think, again, that he did go quite a long time ago, in fairness, in the class, and I have a feeling he doesn't want to. You know, the 28 horses, it was about an hour ago, so Donatello's probably, if he is going to jump Donatello tomorrow, he's gone for a lie down. And easy up to Gond&eacute is a perfectly acceptable standard. Amazing sport to start things off on a Friday night in Bordeaux. We'll be bringing you coverage as well of the eventing tonight on the platform. So you can follow on and enjoy the eventing as well. That's going to be a cracker. They gallop out of the arena in the eventing as well. They go out into the warm-up, so we'll see them rushing down through this tunnel. Well, here they come for the presentation of awards. I'll let you enjoy this one as they return in reverse order. Third place going the way of Marc Dilasser and his quite brilliant Orioto de Grez, the 16-year-old gelding by Diamant Desameli. I mean, an outstanding, it could have been a win. On any other night, it probably would have been a win for Daniel Deusser and Bingo Steramel. But he came up against Julien Epaillard in Bordeaux on Donatello Doge. Well done, Julien. Enjoy the presentation. I'll be back a little bit later for some eventing.
Marseillaise.